Okay guys, so here we are. There we are. I had to get it. Oh, it's melting already. What's going on? Shows how hot it is out here. So I've got a mint choc chip dribble, not ripple, ice cream. I had to go. Sorry, excuse the tongue on it. I just don't want to lose it. I'm sat here now in the kind of the shadows of York Minster. York Minster itself, obviously synonymous with York, and most of the people that come here to visit York, in actual fact, will come and visit the Minster itself. Did you know that in the shadows of York Minster, you've got this little church, St Michael's Belfry? Now, St Michael's Belfry has got some history to itself, anyway, and that is in actual fact where back in the 1600s, as you know, there was an attempt on the British Parliament, and that was, oh my God, that was Guy Fawkes himself. So in 1570, Mr. Guy Fawkes was born just around the corner here in Swinegate, or Swingate. But in that belfry is where he was baptised Protestant, in actual fact. So he was baptised here, down there. Can't see it through the trees, but if you watch this video, I'll show you a little clip later. So I'm here to talk to you, obviously, about the food that I've experienced here at York. Shambles. There's a little marketplace over here called Shambles. It was recommended to me to come up here and have a look. Now, I was going to go to Manchester today, but Manchester obviously has increased in its rate of transmission of the virus, so therefore I'm not over in Manchester. I'm here in York instead. And then I was going to go to Wales as well, but obviously I can't go to Wales because that's increasing as well. So I've got to try and be as safe and close to home as possible. So I'm literally only 20 minutes from home. The Shambles. It ain't a shambles, that's for sure. The Shambles is not a shambles. You've got street food operators from Thai, you've got hot dogs, you've got Indian, you've got crepes, you've got burgers, you've got hog roast, you've got gyros, Greek gyros, you've got Lebanese shawarmas. You've got it all going on. Now, good move. I was asked just a second ago about the wonderful boys in blue over here, who, funny enough, one of them's just recommended a place down on Hull Road for Thai food this evening. It's the best Thai food he's had outside of Thailand. Bold statement to make. I'm going to go there. But the food itself here at the Shambles, it was a great way of kind of integrating history, integrating food that has influenced other dishes. Like, for example, the crepe stand was right next door to the dosa stand. And as you know, dosas have that familiar similarity to crepes. But if for those of you who don't know about the dosa in actual fact came out of a cheeky sin, if that were the easiest way to describe it. If you listen to my podcast, you'll obviously hear about it. But it was around about the 1st century where a Brumming chef who wanted to be a little bit cheeky, knowing that he can't have alcohol or meat, decided to try and create a fermented rice wine. He messed it up completely. And where he messed it up, he put this batter onto this tava, this hot plate, and created this pancake, the dosa. And it was that dosa that then elevated and modernized and evolved into the dosa that we know today, where in its modern format, its popularity was stemmed from the 1930s in Mumbai, and then up into Delhi, where it was enjoyed across hotels and for travellers going to the Indian subcontinent after independence. But look, I'm going into a history thing here, and it's not. This is about York. York has a great way of embracing food. From walking through the little cobbled roads, cobbled streets, I found this little pork pie shop. Now, if you look at the video, look at this video and the pictures that are attached to it, there's this pork pie shop which they do all their pork pies in-house. You know, the guys in the back there, I saw them there cooking away these hot water pastries. But it's the fillings. It's the fillings that really stuck to me, or struck a chord with me. One of which was the ploughman's, which was insane, and then this huntsman. Now the huntsman it's almost like, I suppose, calling it a hunter's chicken, but it's not a hunter's chicken because it's the pork inside this pastry opened. It's not a sealed pie, unlike the Malton Mowbray pork pies. The Yorkshire pies, pork pies are open, and they're cooked inside a cylinder, so they're protected walls, whereas the Malton Mowbray ones, they aren't protected, and therefore they expand in the oven and grow out. Look, I'm leaking again. I'm gonna have to keep eating this. So I had to pick up a couple of these pork pies. Now, jelly in the pork pies for me, way too much. But these guys nailed it. Because it's open, they don't have to squeeze as much jelly in through that top little hole where you'd normally have on a pork pie. And that's why there wasn't so much jelly, which was incredible, which meant there was more of that sausage meat, that sage and onion, that chicken that they put on there. It was absolutely beautiful. So enjoying that as a food here, it kind of set my journey off in York perfectly, because pork pie was originally created as a dish that was easy to transport as a dish on horseback, and across Yorkshire into the Pennines, when they were travelling on horseback, it was easy to eat. So a little pork pie. But then I went over into the Shambles, and you know, I was drawn in by the smells and the aromas of the cooked meats being done, like the hog roast and the hot dogs, and then there was the shawarma. But the first dish that I had to try was the pad thai. Now I went to the there's two Thai places. I went to one of them, Thai Seasons. Now Thai Seasons, great service, fantastic service. The pad thai, unfortunately, was slightly disappointing. You see, historically, or originally, pad thai was created by in the 1930s. In actual fact, it's quite a modern dish, even though Chinese noodles that are used in pad thai, Chinese noodles have been around for centuries, and were introduced into Thailand many years before that. But in 1930, the then Prime Minister wanted to create a dish that did two things. One, help with my ice cream. One, it reduced the national requirement on rice, which was really struggling, especially later on into the 40s with the Second World War, and in wartime. But other than that, it was also because of the shortage of rice, it was also to promote tourism after the war, and where the pad thai dish was then introduced across the pond into America and into Europe, it attracted so many culinary tourists, and is still actually classed as one of the top 5 street food dishes in terms of flavour, culture, tradition and style that attract people from all over the world to Thailand. But it's supposed to be quite crispy, sorry, not crispy, it's supposed to have that almost Italian pasta feel of al dente, have that slight bite to it and that texture. This one didn't. It was as soggy as hell. Really soggy. Seasoning was good, heat was good, spicing was good, but it was just overly soggy. So for me, out of 10, probably a 6, which isn't a bad score, which isn't the best score, but a 6 out of 10 is all right. I'm going to be biased here, but Nakad, the Indian street food operator there, English guy, but just goes to prove to me and show to everybody that it doesn't matter about your nationality and authenticity, but your nationality doesn't actually define the cuisine that you have to cook. Now, the cuisine that he made as an English person, chef, in an Indian kitchen was perfect. A masala dosa, or a dosa, can't call it masala dosa because it didn't have it all mushed into it, didn't have that masala through the actual dosa itself, but it was a dosa, a saw dosa, and it had this perfect crispiness to it. The chole that he made was beautiful. It had that citrusy tang to it, the tamarind coming through, this pickled onion that he put over the top, the coconut raita on the side, and then the samba. Every element to it was prepared beautifully, so much so that I've got to say, outside of eating a masala dosa from two of my favourite restaurants in Britain, one being the Indian Tiffin Room in Leeds, two being Chili Pickle in Brighton with Alan and Dawn, who are superb. Again, another great example of non-Indians doing an incredible job, because they are still considered to be in the top 3 Indian restaurants in the country. This particular dosa that I had at the Shambles, I would say 8 out of 10, and that's a strong 8 out of 10. So well done. But it was great to see that the crepes were right next to the dosa, so showing that, you know, that influence, and how that Brahmin chef and then the Maharaja wanting to kind of create this dish that was able to use up the leftovers from his famous banquets. He got his chefs to put all the food inside and then fold it over, creating the aloo masala dosa. But it was crepe. It was crepe shaped. It was like a crepe. And then having the a shawarma next door to then having, sorry, I've lost the plot. I've lost it here. I'm going to eat my ice cream. That's better. And then having a shawarma next to the burrito. Now you're going, wow, hold on, how does the shawarma have any influence in the burrito? Let me tell you. The shawarma, being of Lebanese origin originally, has obviously, you know that it's has variations across the globe, but the Lebanese dish that was created was then an influence on the Mexican al pastor taco, the taco al pastor. Now, in the burrito shop and in the burrito world, there is the burrito al pastor as well, which is, al pastor means of shepherd's dish, and so it's the shepherd's food. So you've got this slow cooked lamb, it's beautifully soft and just melts in your mouth, and then that's mixed in with the rice and the tangy chili slaw and the beans, and then wrapped in this tortilla that's been soaked in the meat juices. Do you know what? If that's not what influencing of foods is all about, then these guys have got it wrong. Because you've got, like I say, the crepe place next to the Indian place. You've got the Lebanese place next to the burrito place. You've got the hot dog place, which all it needs is a Korean outlet next to it, and you can have the army stew from Korea in there as well. But it's a real worldly experience. So if you get a chance, come down here to York, or come down here, come up here, come across here, fly into here. It is a beautifully historic town, city. It is so beautiful, so friendly, and absolutely a dream to be here today.